Talk about doing a save as function for Creo models and drawings. So the way that this basically works is you can simply come in and do a save as, and this is probably being used in situations where you're coming up with a design variant or configuration difference on a particular model. So we typically see this with like a master model approach where you're working with something as its master, and then you're going to make changes to it, parameters of dimensions or values or whatever, and then save it off as a different version or a final released version. So by default, it's going to take the active model and you can give it a new name. So if we said, oh, let's give this kind of a 1F888-2-A is what we want it to do. And we're just going to write it to the current directory here. So if we do a run on this or do this, you'll notice here that it has created our assembly here. So this does a basically a rename in session and save as to the current working directory. So if we do take a look here and look at our assembly list, we can see that our original assembly is here for our speaker. If we pull this up, you can see that it actually has our componentry in there too. So another nifty thing about this is if we come up and let's pull up that main assembly again. So we could be specific about it. So you could actually say, I want to create a new version of the basket, PRT, and we'll call this, well, let's do this 1B999-A3. And we'll go ahead and write that to the current working directory also. So if we run this, you'll notice that it loads up that basket and then saves that off as that particular type of component here. This also works with drawings, but let's do something just a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna open this up again, ASM, and you can also do a save to a subdirectory too. So I'm going to delete these two files that we just generated. And we're going to start off by, because we're doing an automation, we're going to do a dir delete. And then we're going to do a dir create. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to create a subdirectory that has fresh output, that I'm going to be able to write to. So we'll call this rel files. And we're going to put that into that subdirectory for where this is going. So this will create a subdirectory. It'll delete if it exists, and it'll create it if it doesn't exist. So I'm going to go ahead and press do it here, and you'll notice that it created our Rails files and then wrote that particular file out there. So if we take a look at that particular file, load that up, there it is. That's basically how it works.